Hey, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good night.
And,
welcome to Weird Recording Situation.
Yeah, welcome to a Weird Recording Situation. And before we even get started, because he just happens to be sitting here, come say hello real quick. He's a big fan of the podcast.
88 Keys.
Grab that mic. He's dressed like a college professor, but he's not one.
I'm very studious and collegiate.
Yeah, I tell him he cleaned up well.
He really does. 88, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm feeling great. How you guys?
Well, if you don't know, this is Ebro, and I'm on the Juan Epstein podcast today. And
So
88 Keys, I think you should jump to, because the reason he's in the hallway is because of Diddy. And did you know that 88 Keys was giving some of his amazingness to some of the Diddy stuff that's happening?
Well, when I saw him in the hallway, I figured he must have been sprinkling.
Yeah.
So you've been involved in this Diddy project?
This one in particular,
MMM.
not MMM.
Not MMM.
But
No Way Out too.
I could say I've been around.
You've been around.
Yeah, and Puff and I.
Hey,
are
do me a
really
favor.
good friends.
Come speak some cryptic shit on the podcast.
Come give us no fucking information.
Man, those NDAs, man. Those NDAs be
Well, and I think, do people know that producers create things and then they may or may not get used? So if you say that you're doing something, it may never come to fruition.
100%. Been in this for professionally since 97.
Oh,
You want to give us while you're here?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for being such a listener of Juan Epstein.
100%. Y'all guys helped me lose weight.
You look
And losing
fantastic.
weight. Oh, thanks. I'm
What?
still going
he
down.
said he runs to Juan Ep.
Oh, you run to Juan Ep.
Yeah, 100%.
And do you want to drop any gems on Kanye's project? You got anything for us?
I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
Nothing.
The work's being done.
Work's being done, and
Good work.
100%. And he's in a good space in life.
Have you been working on that or no?
We just been hanging.
Okay, so you're just hanging. You're not going to work. You haven't been working. But you hear things. You hear things and you're around.
Thanks.
I'm around. I'm around, and we just been hanging and having great conversations, and I'm helping him just
Stay creative
and being a great friend.
Yes, there you go.
Good.
Well, that's
That's most important. The way you wrap that up. That's the most important thing.
Now, can I chime in and say why I keep trying to finish everyone's or his sentences?
to help him out.
Well, no, because I've already asked him these questions.
Oh, you did.
And he gave me more specific answers. But it wasn't on the
Microphone.
air.
It wasn't on the mic.
Oh, really?
So
Well, that's slightly different.
Yeah, I was.
Well, I'm confident if I'd asked him with the mic's off, he
Yes.
wouldn't have given me that generic an answer. I'd like to think.
Yeah, man, we're all friends here,
So,
but I'm not friends with everybody.
not
on the
everyone.
airwaves.
I mean, you probably like them.
friendly, man.
Yeah,
Friendly.
friendly. Definitely friendly.
All right. Well, 88, great seeing you, bro. You're
you.
welcome to sit in here. We're going to start. We're going to do Ebro's our guest today on Juan Epstein.
Oh yeah, can I be I won't
wanna sit-
You
run.
can ask some questions. Why don't you ask some questions?
Do you want to sit? Do you want to leave? You can do whatever you want.
I'll chill.
All right, cool.
Okay.
I'll chill.
He's
You know
very
what?
thoughtful.
Hey. He'll be around.
Yeah, he's
He'll
around.
be around if we need him.
Now, first and foremost, Cipha Sounds.
Yes.
How are you? We're recording at Hot 97.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm in the building.
Did you go see the boss?
I did.
How'd it go?
Well, I went to see TT, and I was cool. And then I went to go see the boss Dion, but he wasn't there. But then he just came back here.
And
we
how'd that
spoke.
go?
It was very cordial.
It was cordial, nice.
Yeah.
All right, clean.
I said, thanks for letting me back in the building.
Okay.
And he gave me the very confident, like, of course. Like, why would you think otherwise? Oh, there's a lot of reasons to think otherwise.
Exactly. Remember how I don't work here anymore? Well, we've been talking about doing this for a while, and then it worked out schedule-wise today.
Thanks.
Ebro's here, Ibrahim.
Well, it worked out because I didn't actually have to leave Hot 97 and go anywhere else.
Yes, that's why it made sense. And Ciph was here, so it all comes together.
And I should probably let everybody know in about 25 minutes I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
Well,
so
let's get into this Ebro history then.
story.
So,
But actually, if you get Ebro talking, he's not going to
I know.
leave.
I
So
know, probably not.
Sorry.
What are you saying? I talk about?
so
You like to talk.
where do you no? Where do you want to start with the Ebro story, Ciph? What do you think? The beginning?
I don't. Do we go like teenage model, or do we go?
Oh,
where do we
yeah.
go? Like,
Oh.
no, we got to go before that.
Before Teenage
We
Mom.
got to go black man sexing Jewish woman.
Yeah, maybe 1975.
1975, the year. Your mom, the woman whose back is getting blown out by your Black Panther Jace father.
Yeah.
So, what was your dad's deal? Your dad was not a Black Panther?
Nah, he was like Black Panther, like you described it. He was a friend of.
Okay.
And it was better that way because the Black Panther movement in Oakland, because obviously there were other
Yeah.
Liberation.
Did it start in Oakland?
Black nationalist movements. Yes, the Black Panthers. Yes.
The original ones from Oakland.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, and then it blossomed from there. And there was, I think black nationalist movements at that time were pretty common, right? Because you had black men coming home from the war looking for jobs. Mm-hmm. You had, kind of like a generation of black people who had kind of not lived in Jim Crow. So they felt like, okay, I'm integrated into society. Like, I should be able to have certain shit.
Right.
Okay. Getting education, and being upwardly mobile, if you will.
Okay.
And integrated in society. So I think that's why you had a lot of black nationalists and people looking to define their own identity as well. So anyway, that was kind of, my dad came out of that generation. And went to San Francisco State University. Studied radio and television.
Interesting. Did he finish?
Yeah, he got his degree.
Did he pay for himself to go to school?
No, he had gone on some football scholarships and other things, and was already had a felon at that time. So he had already kind of.
He was already a felon?
Yeah, he had did some time when he was.
For doing what?
It was told to me, he had knocked out a football coach. And beat the shit out of his football coach.
That's not nice.
That's not the attitude you're supposed to have.
That's how I was told to me.
That's not what you should do.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And he caught a felony for that. Broke his jaw in the game because the coach said, "Get your black ass in the game."
Really?
Yeah, sports talk, that's fine.
You think you overreacted?
He didn't like it.
Obviously.
He wasn't for it. He wasn't for it.
Well, no, I got to be honest. At that time, too, in like the late 60s, to be like, "Get your black ass in the game." That sounds a little crazy.
Get your black ass in the game.
No, that's not good. And he was white, I'm presuming.
Oh, yeah. So that kind of started, but I don't think he got a felony for that. I think it was like an aggravated assault kind of charge.
But let's be honest, it sounds blurry.
Yeah,
they didn't totally include you in the what your dad did to get in trouble story.
Yeah, and then there was a lot of when you speak to my family, there's a lot of other stories that come up, and you don't know.
Your pops back in the day.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Ciph gets those occasionally from a text. Your father was in the street.
I was in the street.
So where'd your mom come from?
My mom,
she was like from a broken home and stuff, right?
Yeah, well, no, yeah, my mom was from Philly, born in Philly, and to a father who was first generation Jew, leaving the World War II scenario, coming to the United States, and my mom's mom died young, suffered from depression, and then my mom's father put my mom in an orphanage with her and her brother when my mom was like 4 years old.
Gee, okay. So that's not good. That's not great.
Yeah, and then when he came back to get my mom, there was like a new family. So then my mom was like literally the redheaded stepchild.
She was literally
redheaded.
The redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then her brother, who's her best friend, dies.
Ooh.
From like appendicitis.
Oh my God! This is like a
Something
game of
that
Oregon
you can clear
Trail
nowadays by washing your hands.
Yeah, is that true?
No.
Washing your hands.
So then my mom leaves home. I believe she left home when she was like 16 or 17. Teenager, traveled. Went traveling to find herself. Mm-hmm. Recently, my mom told me a story. Maybe 5 years ago, she married some man so that he could become a U.S. citizen.
You never knew that?
I never knew. I just found this out like 4 or 5 years ago, so that was interesting.
Nice.
Then
good for her.
Yeah. Then I somehow ended up in Northern California, in Berkeley, Oakland, California, right there in the early 70s.
Right.
And it's lit. It's lit. And yeah, man. And Ibrahim Darden was born in 1975.
1975,
to a
the
Jewish
year.
mother and a semi-active,
semi-criminal.
Yeah, which is why at that time in the early pieces of the Panthers they tried to, because they knew they were under the microscope. If you had kind of a past or a street life, it was kind of like, yo, we need to not completely associate with you, but since you got some money and you can help us get some things,
right? That makes sense.
You know what I mean? And so, my dad was the get money type.
When you were young, did your parents get along? Was there a period where you remember them together or no?
Yeah, I remember them together. Don't remember them getting along. Definitely remember my mom getting punched in the face in the kitchen.
Ooh.
Definitely remember cops being called. Definitely remember. I mean, there were periods within there that we were all getting along. And now, I also have an older brother, too. I think I should probably add that. My brother's 5 years older. So my brother was born in 1970. So before my mom went to Northern California, sometimes she spent some time in L.A., had a child with a man who walked out on her.
Oh, not the same dad.
Not the same
White
dad.
guy.
White guy walked out on my mom. Left her with a son.
Your mom knows how to pick them.
Yeah.
That's the lesson to
She's
be
out
learned
here.
here.
Yeah.
She's out here.
She's out here.
So that must have been interesting. So you remember your dad being pretty bad to your mom. Your brother must have not been thrilled about that because it's not even his dad.
Yeah.
How did he get along with your dad?
He called him the N-word.
Did it? I'm sure his mom's family said that.
Nah, my dad was, my dad was the giving whoopings type, man. My dad was, very the type of person who was like the king of his castle. This is the way we doing it.
So your brother would catch a whooping too?
Oh yeah.
Even though it wasn't his son?
Well, because my dad started taking care of my brother probably when he was like 4 or 5. Because I was born when my brother was 5. So it was like, you're a 5-year-old.
And
Shut the fuck up.
And
Sit down.
and your brother's dad was gone.
Right.
So it's not like he even had another
he didn't
dad to
even
deal
have
with.
He never knew his dad. It wasn't like he knew his dad and then his dad was gone. It was like his dad walked out when he was like 1 or 2.
When did you get into rap?
When did you fall in love with hip hop?
I want to say had to be my earliest memory is like 80. 70. I had a cousin named Crystal, and she was listening to like Off the Wall and listening to like
Sugar Hill?
I remember Sugar Hill, and I remember. But I'm gonna tell you what I really remember very clear was New Edition. I don't know what it was. Popcorn Love. So that had to be 82. When did New Edition Lost in Love and that first New Edition album came out?
I don't know. That's
like 84.
Yeah, that early New Edition stuff is a little before my time.
Yeah, it's a little blurry. 83, 84, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I remember like rapping being a thing like around that time. Like people was like rapping was the thing.
Well, I mean, Sucker MCs is 83.
Yeah, so it was that. It was all in that. And also I remember we used to, in the apartments where we lived, when my mom left my dad, the apartments, that's what we call the apartments, which was really like Section 8 housing, but it wasn't quite projects.
Projects adjacent.
Right. Yeah. So my mom leaves my dad in 1980, moves to Sacramento, California, which is outside of the Bay Area by about an hour and a half. And we
it's the capital.
It's the capital.
Capital of California. The setting for the show The Mentalist.
Talk about it.
Thank you,
don't know
Ciph. That's really how people want to keep it in mind.
Good show.
It's a good show. So anyway, we lived across from this department store. It later became a Target, but then it was called Gemco.
Gemco.
You remember
that?
Gemco?
Yeah.
Do you? So anyway, we would go over there and we would like be popping and breaking like outside the store. Right? Like just like kids hanging out in our neighborhood, and all the kids would go there to buy shit, steal shit, whatever the fuck was going on. And in the store you could buy like rap tape or like fat tape.
Oh, yeah.
And on the tape would come with like a poster, and on that tape you would have everything from Shaka Khan, I Feel For You, to Run DMC, to
All kinds
of
like
like a compilation.
Jam on it.
Jam on it. You had all that shit.
I
on
wonder how those deals were done for those tapes.
Nobody knew.
Yeah, like what was the publishing situation when they're like, oh, we're going to take the song, we're going to put it on the thing.
So that was my like earliest memory. So then at that time, I remember we was trying to save up our money to buy the Ralph Sampson red and black Pumas with the fat laces and the red and black Adidas sweatsuit.
I didn't even know Ralph Sampson had a shoe deal like that.
Yeah, Ralph Sampson had a Puma. But they were the Clydes, right? They were just really like the high top Clydes, if I remember it right.
You can't look around this room, no one's as old as you.
Yeah, sorry.
88, do you remember what he's talking about? Oh, he does. Forget it. But 88's a real head. By the way, 88 is everything you're wearing polo today? 100%. Okay, just making sure everything's polo because he's wearing a jacket, a sweater, a tie, a shirt, and corduroys. And I wanted to make sure every item was low. It's official. And what?
Low boxers.
Okay, even the boxers. Okay.
But they're not low.
Polo
They're
down
not
to the
low.
socks?
They're not low cut.
Down to the socks, the geometric neats.
Down to the socks.
Shoes?
Yes.
Shoes too.
Wow.
Yeah, these are the Motlins.
Wow, he's not. It's not a game.
McMurray's. He's not playing around.
No, he's really not.
Gentleman collection.
Country Gentleman Collection.
Gentleman Collection.
I respect it though. I need to go buy that entire outfit for the day I have to go to like my daughter's graduation.
88 is a country gentleman. So at what point do you start getting hardcore about this? Start the DJing stuff and the radio stuff?
It was pause tapes. Me and my brother used to make tapes. You know, it was everything on the tape from, you know, Run DMC and you know, classic rock, Led Zeppelin and shit that we were into. My brother was into Van Halen, Skid Row, and like all
He was
that.
into really rocky stuff?
Yeah, but he liked the hip hop shit too. Like he liked both.
Like a lot of kids did. People take that for granted.
Yeah, the 80s was, I remember, the 80s to me was you were a fan of everything.
Oh, and you were into Beastie Boys, of course, too. I'm
Heavy
sure.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah, heavy.
And so I have to say it was like Yo Bum Rush the Show. My friend Billy Bloodsaw had the Yo Bum Rush the Show tape. Simultaneously, I believe that my cousin had a tape, and on that tape was Dope Man, yeah, that's me. And also on that same tape, they had recorded it from some show was EPMD You Got to Share.
Woo!
Nice.
I've
It was
heard you
all
talk-
like in the same moment.
Live version.
live version.
No, it was recorded from like some radio station.
Oh, it's a radio show. I think you meant like a concert. Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's actually no surprising. On Spotify, this is the first record that's #1 most popular listened to EPMD record.
You got some chill?
If this or so what you're saying is the
No.
biggest hits, right?
I guess so.
Relax your mind, let your conscience be free and get down to the sounds of EPMD. But you should keep quiet while the MC raps.
It was all the same back then. It was all
So
felt
this
good.
is what, 87, 88?
Yep.
So I'm 12, 13. Also, so all this happened at the same time. So I had NWA, I had EPMD, I had Yo Bum Rush the Show. Obviously, Mitch Malekian.
What's Mitch Malekian?
Mitch Malekian is my friend in junior high school.
Oh, I thought that was a
we had went to
rapper.
the tower. We had went to the Tower Records.
Money making Mitch Malekian?
Yep. He had put me up on the Eric B and Rakim Paid in Full.
Okay.
So we had that kind of always happening. That was like when it really got like, yo, this is my shit.
Paid in full? I feel
No,
like-
just all of
This
this
whole
was
era.
happening, was hitting me all at the same time. And I had St. Ides for the first time. My cousin had given me St. Ides for the first time.
when you're like 15 years old.
No, I was 12.
But
Oh,
these
12, well.
These cousins are your father's family?
Yeah, my extended family on my mom's side.
But
we
how
weren't-
far away were they?
they lived in the Bay Area.
They're all
An
around.
hour away, though, right?
Yeah, but my mother and father had joint custody.
Okay, so you
so
go back
like
and forth.
every other weekend I was in the Bay, and
Right.
the entire summer I was in the Bay.
Got it. In Oakland.
In Oakland, Berkeley, Richmond. I went to church in North Richmond, McLaughlin Temple Church.
So
of
your
God in
mom
Christ.
stayed close with your dad's family even after they broke up?
Yeah, they really liked her a lot. She hated my father though. They never spoke.
And what about your family? What about his family? Did his family like him?
You know, so
They were fun.
a select few.
But some of them were closer with your mom than him.
Yeah. If my mom, my mom,
They
would
treated her
reach
like
out.
family. They
Yeah, the one who was closest to my mom was my grandmother, who died when I was 9. She loved my mom, and my mom loved her.
Really?
Yeah, my dad's mom.
So got it. So you were back and forth.
Yeah, I was.
So you were
bouncing
doing, was your neighborhood in Sacramento suburbs?
Yeah, it was the hood.
Not high end, but like,
I mean,
like,
we had
like
a
Hempstead or
we had a
Yonkers.
we had a 2-bedroom house.
Did you say Homestead, Ciph?
No, like Hempstead, Long Island. like
Hempstead.
I lived.
Yonkers.
It was an area called it was considered like North Sac, right? So
Okay.
I lived originally by an area called I don't even know what the area was called, but we eventually lived in a house in Del Paso Heights.
Okay.
Del Paso Heights is where Grant High School is the big popular high school. They're great at baseball, football, and basketball. It's predominantly black school, or was back then. And in the area, you had several gang neighborhoods that weren't so great. But it was, you would have, Del Paso Heights is one of those places where you had like Harley Davidson riding white dudes
Right.
and their families, low
Right, right,
income,
right.
that were on the same blocks as like the Cholos,
Right.
that were around the corner
sense,
from
yeah.
like the Filipino
Yeah.
gang. Then you had like the Tongans and Samoans had their shit going on, all mixed in with black people with their shit going on. And so you had black gangs, you may have Asian gang problems. I would see Filipino gangs, and like I seen the illest Filipino Korean gang fight one
What?
time. It was the illest shit. outside this Chinese restaurant.
And many different fights at the same time?
Yo.
20 on 20?
Yo, listen, it was going down, and the chef came out of the kitchen with it was crazy.
And you were just watching?
I was out in the parking lot, just being a kid on a bike, and it was going down, like it was just going down in the parking lot. And we were just kids like, yo, this is crazy.
You didn't realize at the time that you were living through a real time.
No, it was my life, man. You just hanging out, man.
I mean,
I've seen some pretty treacherous things that get crazy from all types, though, not just gang shit, but just like in all different backgrounds, I think too, which makes my life a little bit more interesting. Because when people just talk about, black people being low income or this group or that group, yeah, I think percentage wise, black people dominate, but there's a lot of low income crazy shit
that happens to all people.
That goes on in the United States
Yeah,
for
there's a lot.
everybody.
Yeah, black
Depending
people get
on where you are.
the bad stigma
Image.
of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's a lot.
At what point were you aware of being biracial? And like,
Oh, that was early. I was like kindergarten. This Mexican kid kept calling me the N-word every day. In the first kindergarten, first grade.
And
But then N-words weren't calling you N-words. They were calling you light skin or red or
Yeah,
white
no, well,
boy.
my cousins called me white boy.
Yeah.
Because I spoke proper.
well, that's
Yeah.
confusing. So at a young age, you're getting called the N-word and white boy.
Right.
That's well, what the fuck am I?
And I went to a Pentecostal church. So the church that I went to when I'm with my dad's family is all black church. But then I went to Hebrew school when I'm staying with my mom because she got free daycare. So
you're black as shit at Jewish school, and then you're white as shit at
black
at
church.
the black church.
But my Hebrew teacher at Beth Shalom was a black as shit Ethiopian man.
What?
Yeah.
Your Hebrew school teacher was black.
Yes.
So that must have actually helped in a weird way.
Yeah, because I didn't really think nothing of it. I just thought people believed
They
that.
were black
hilarious.
Jews. Yeah, of course.
I never thought nothing of it. And when I went to
And were the Jewish kids at Hebrew school nice? Were the kids at Hebrew school not?
Yeah, I didn't have no problems there.
So at regular school, you got the N-word and stuff like that. Not at Hebrew school.
And by the way, at the school where I first got called the N-word was Thousand Oaks Elementary School in Berkeley, California.
Sounds like some rich, pretentious assholes.
But check this shit out. At the school, and this is Berkeley, California, you had Rastafarian children, literally children who came to school. Their parents are, this is Berkeley, California.
Right,
You
so
know
it's
that.
everything.
Yeah, Berkeley like
Hasidic Jew kids at the school.
Okay.
Right? The Hare Krishna kids.
what?
Their kids at the
Yeah.
school doing, so my school is mixed. The Mexican kid, what's his name, Manuel? You know, you remember
the
kids'
one?
names when you're from school, right?
They did some fucked up shit.
Was calling me a fucking nigger while we're playing outside with all this other diverse shit going on. Why me?
Why me? You can make fun of anyone here.
Yeah, but that's how. And so I beat Manuel up for a couple days. And I told, my dad always raised me, look, you have a problem, you tell the teacher. If the problem continues, then you just handle your business.
Were you big already as a little kid?
Yeah, I was always a big kid.
And did you go back to your mom and or dad and tell them that someone was calling you the N-word? Or?
Oh yeah, no, I mean the teacher told them right away. Like I got into a fight. Like I had the kid on the ground. I was pounding him out. Like it was let's do it. But my dad came up to school. My dad was very active. And this was actually at a time when I was staying with my dad. Now there's a piece of story I forgot. So when my mom left my dad, she left my dad because my dad was abusive.
Oh yeah, this part's good. I forgot about this. You remember this?
So she literally one day, my dad got into a car accident or something. He's staying out late drinking, being my dad, whatever. He used to always have some fucking problems because he's hustling. And my dad, by the way, was like a teacher at Laney College in the Bay. So he taught radio and television, but on the side was like hustling too.
Okay.
So he would be out late doing whatever, and he used to get in accidents. Probably drinking too much, being whatever. So my mom finally, after the beatings, whatever, decides to leave my dad and takes my dad to work, drops him off because he had wrecked his car. We turn back around. I vividly remember me and my brother in the car and go back to the house.
Instead of school?
Instead of school. So I remember asking my mom, why are we going back home?
How old are you here?
5.
Okay.
Why are we going back home? And we get to the house and there's women packing up my mom's stuff. We literally got in a moving
Squad
truck.
was there.
We literally like one of those women's shelter programs, abused.
So as soon
whatever.
as you leave, they're in there.
Boom, yeah.
packing
So
it.
boom, get in the truck, leave.
Wow. That's crazy.
We stayed in Yuba City, which is before like an area outside of Sac, before we get there, where I went to school for a little bit. I didn't know this until later on in life. I was a missing child. Like, because my mom technically had kidnapped us.
Right.
And didn't tell other people.
Right, didn't tell my dad's family. So my dad's family's thinking,
Where the fuck is everyone?
Yeah.
right, we're gone.
Wow.
So like the feds came to the school, found me. I got put in like a foster care thing.
We're looking for a gargantuan 5-year-old with a full beard.
He's black or white or something.
And my brother.
Oh, both of you.
Yeah.
Hanging with a tall,
Skinny white kid.
skinny white.
Yeah, so that was a part of it. So anyway, so then when they finally found us, they had taken us from my mom, and I had to stay with my dad for a little
she
while.
was like a criminal almost, like she kidnapped
Yeah,
you.
right.
Wow.
So then you ended up going back to your dad?
So now I'm staying
Well, that
back
must have
with my
pissed your
dad.
mom off.
Yeah,
that
and then they
backfired.
had to go through whatever they went through. And so that's why I was going to school predominantly in the Bay when I was in kindergarten and first grade, because I was literally staying with my dad and my grandmother and like everyone in the Bay Area.
I wonder if that situation would play out differently now.
Because
Like-
abuse?
Yes,
Because of the
because your
abuse?
mom essentially almost got punished for doing the thing that now they would tell women to do.
Right.
Don't wait, pack up your family and
Right.
fucking leave. Like
Jimmy
that's not,
Carter was president back then. No,
That-
where was this? This
was
might be
80.
Reagan.
It might be
Reagan
Reagan.
was like, yeah, don't lock him up.
I don't know. I don't know. I got to be honest. As important as this is to us, I don't know if this issue got to Ronald Reagan.
It might have. He's from Cali.
What do we do, Mr. President, in the situation with the Darden family? So, all right. So then you end up with your mom, and now you're away from your dad,
No, I'm with my dad in the Bay,
and then back to your mom,
and then they got joint custody, went to whatever court they had to go to.
and then you lived the boys in the hood life.
Yeah, well, that was split. So it was some Bay, and then it was some.
Summers with your dad,
Yes.
raking the leaves.
Yep. Cooking.
Well, your father's smart. He's a teacher, but he's also a hustler.
Yeah, that's a very Bay Area thing. Anybody that knows about the Bay Area. I mean, look, it's kind of anywhere. And I think it plays out in the sense of where it's like you have men, well, I'm sure women too, but at this time, black men who went and got their higher education and realized that making $40,000 a year wasn't enough, and how
Right.
come I ain't living that life that I need to live,
Right.
and went and hustled. But I also have family members that were very active in the Oakland crack epidemic of
So that's
the
a common thing. The
80s.
sort of the educated criminal,
Yeah.
the like I know better.
But I'm about to get this money.
I'm getting the money
Because
anyway.
and you look at the stories, and that's kind of like that's the story. They weren't, this isn't a new phenomenon where you have people who come to America like, I'm gonna risk it all to get the millions, and I mean, you look at the mobsters. I'm sure it was similar. Racketeering charges and everything that they was doing. You look at. You look at the Rockefellers, you look at the Kennedys, you look at
People made a conscious decision to do what they had to do
to break the law to get ahead.
Now let's we got to jump a little bit. So let's get to when you started doing radio, because you started very young. It's not that far off before you got your first radio job.
Yeah, 1990.
1990. You're 15 years old, and you
Yeah.
go to what radio station?
KSFM 102.5 in Sacramento.
And are you into this because of your dad, or totally independently?
No,
Just
I actually, my brother and I were making the tapes and loving music. I went to El Camino High School, Sacramento, and
You went to the car that looks like a pickup truck high school.
That's
yes,
Wow.
and
fresh El Camino rolling Kilo G. You know what I'm saying?
there's a radio station there that I never worked at. I hear that the teachers that work at that radio station at El Camino say that I went and worked in that program. I never was in that program.
So they had a program there, but you
They have
didn't
a
do
radio station at a high school, and the high school. The reason I got to go to the high school, it was in the wrong neighborhood, but I got into the high school because I was playing football, and I kind of got snaked around into the program because they had a good football program.
But you didn't do anything with the radio program there.
No,
So-
I actually got into radio because I was a stock boy at the mall, so I used to unpack the boxes at the mall, which was the Arden Fair Mall, which is still there. And if anybody remembers, there was two pretty popular national chains called, one was Merry Go Round and one was Oak Tree. Where you
Clothing
could-
store.
Clothing
I
store.
worked there.
Which one? Oak Tree?
Yeah.
Yeah, with 2 suits for $99.
Yeah, Oak
you
Tree.
cross colors. You Men, remember You Men?
Yep.
And at Merry Go Round, they sold Guess and Gerbeau and all that. So I would unpack the boxes, and DJs would come try to get the clothes early. So that's how I got the DJ relationships. And then this guy, Mark S. Allen was his name. He still does TV in Sacramento. He came to the store and was trying to get some stuff. And I was like, yo, man, how you get into radio? He was like, yo, you should call Sonia Jimenez. Sonia worked.
He gave a 15-year-old.
Well, I was hooking him up with gear. Like I gave him, made
so
sure he got the gear.
Why
So
not? Some kind of value
I saw him
to his
all
life.
the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he was like, yo, you should talk to this lady.
Okay,
Turns
so it
out,
wasn't like the first time you met him. Like it's after you knew him a little.
yeah,
All right.
Sonia ran the research department. Remember here at Hot, we used to have the people that did the phone back in the day and call research. So she ran that department. I got a gig in there paying some money, but I also got to stay at the station and got credit at my school because they had the radio program and they also had like a work program where you could go like get internships places and get high school credit for it. So I got credit for it, and my grades were good, and the coaches didn't mind, and I was grinding, man.
Was this ringing back then?
Excellent, huh? I'm sorry, gentlemen. We don't
Oh,
play
what?
rap music here. We
Posse
play
on Broadway?
real music. You gotta pick
I'm gonna tell you when Posse on Broadway started ringing. This started ringing when I was in the 8th grade.
Oh, even earlier. Yeah, 2 years earlier, I guess.
Yeah, it started ringing when I was in the 8th grade.
People really sleep on how important this song was at the time.
Station at home away from home in the black Benz limo with the this shit was fire swaps.
Calling up the posse, it's time to get to ripping. I freaking each sunroof
To keep you suckers tripping.
Everybody's
Was this big in Sac?
Was it big?
It was the biggest?
Was it big?
The whole West Coast? All the
What?
LA huge too?
series tires. The Alpine's bumping, but I need the volume higher. Cause the 808 kick drum makes the girlies get dumb. We're rolling rain.
Y'all don't understand about
and
this.
by the way, this was house speakers in the trunk time, where you literally took the Pioneer or Yamaha 12-inch house speakers with the wood casings and hooked them into your amp in the trunk of your car so you could make the motherfucking license plate rattle.
By the way, I still don't know if you can find a much better song to play loud out of a car than that. That's still the jam to play out of the car.
Yo, listen, that shit goes. And shout to my dude Count Mixela. That was his name. He was he's a few years older than me. He's a DJ at the time.
Okay, at the station?
No, he was at the high school, El Camino's high school radio station.
Okay.
So I'm in the 8th grade, about to go in the 9th grade. So I'm going to football practice, etc. at the high school already, and he's playing. He got suspended for playing Boys in the Hood, NWA, on the high school radio station.
Couldn't do that.
Curse words and all. He's like, I had to do it though. I had to do it, and he used to dress up as a motherfucking count and DJ school parties.
Ooh,
and
he had a-
shit.
he had
That
a
was his
little,
hustle. That was his hustle. He'd wear like the dress. He was Count Mixela.
Oh my god!
Yo, at the time, man, you had to
It was
have
lit. You had to have a gimmick to
had
get the
to have-
gigs back then. Even now, motherfuckers gotta have a gimmick.
the best of NWA. Here it is. You're talking about this song right here.
Yo, man, what you need? Yo, man, I need something, man. I need a 20.
No, it's dope, man, right?
Yeah, didn't you say dope, man?
No.
Go to the radio station. You start working in research first.
Yeah.
And do they tell you like this could eventually lead to something? Because we all know working in radio, a lot of people work in research, a lot of people work in different areas, rarely make it onto the air. That's like
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing.
you were just going to take a job.
Yeah, I just wanted to do some cool shit.
And once you had a way into the radio station, do you start showing up on the radio, on the programming side, and just hanging out? And
Well, the way the research department was programming.
Got it.
Just like in most stations, because a lot of people don't know in radio stations, research in the music and research in the audience behavior is what programming really is.
Got it. So it's
not
all
just
next to
like-
each other.
Yeah, it's not just like, ooh, we want to play this
And
song.
it's all the feedback you had back then.
Right.
Because it was like there wasn't no big industry and tastemakers and
No.
This was like
All you had
calling
was-
people on the phone. Like, you like this song?
Yeah.
All right, we gonna play it.
It was literally request lines, and then the research department operated like telemarketing, where you would call from like an ambiguous, hey, this is so-and-so research. We're doing a music survey. We wonder if you'd participate. And they'll go yay or nay. You had to call at least 100 different numbers out of this program. It would print out. If you got people that said you could call them back, you marked down that you could call them back and when you could call them back. And then on a specific day, we would come in and do all the callbacks and literally take hooks of songs, play them a hook, and they
The
rate
call
the
out
song.
Research hook.
Talk about it.
If you ever see it on a CD single.
What losers were taking part in this?
The
though?
same people who carry Nielsen.
Yeah,
I
we carry
know.
the meters right now.
I understand. But I'm just saying, like, you're home, you get a fucking hi. We would like to say, yeah, I'm interested. Yes,
Sure, play me the songs. Although I got to tell you, that is one that I would sort of be interested in.
music.
We
right?
want to see what songs you like. And I'd be like, all right. But I just think it's funny because growing up, I'd see those CD singles and it would say "Call Out Research Hook," and I'd be,
Why were they on the
sing?
Oh, because we had radio promos.
Yeah, you had the radio promo.
Those got thrown on regular CD singles sometimes too.
Why?
Really?
They would just press up the same thing. They would just be like, "Oh, here's the CD single. It has both."
I used to hate those.
I don't know what the fuck.
The maxi single?
Yeah, like the full CD single would have like, it would have radio, dirty, instrumental, call out, research hook, because it would be the same thing they'd send out as promo. My question is, before CD, what were they doing? Sending, because it wasn't on vinyl. Promo vinyl doesn't have it.
They didn't send us shit. We made the hook. Even to this day,
you would make it.
Even to this day, like here at Hot, we make our own hooks. We send them the hooks of the songs that we think should be the hook, because I think you got to hit a button or something.
The camera's bugging out.
I got it. Keep talking.
We make our own hooks because there might be a piece of the song that the audience is more familiar with than the thing that they think is the hook.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they probably made that. The record company made that before the song was that popular. And they just
and research in radio, and researching radio, and researching songs and hooks and shit like that. I don't know when it started, but I think it's more of an '80s thing. Like that's when
it became a thing.
Yeah, I think research and really, and it's just radio. The '70s radio stations was literally more of a gut music back then. Was more gut.
Right.
This is hot in the club, or this sounds like something. The '80s it was a little bit, and the '90s was heavy research. Right now is even worse than the '90s. Now everything's researched.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, I know.
Everything is analytics.
Well, we're in the information age. That's what they call it, analytics. That's in the '70s.
Well, dude,
I like this song.
Dude,
analytics.
It's everything. It's like this in baseball now, Ciph. They do this thing where, based on analytics, if they see that the way a player hits, you will look at the baseball field and see the way the defense is set up, and even you would be like, well, that's fucking weird. That can't be how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
All the players are all the way over, and there's no one standing at third base.
He's going to pull it.
And they'll do that. Literally, no one from third base to second base. The entire field shifts because they're like, the research says he's not going to hit the ball there.
Right.
And if he randomly hits the ball there, that's an L you're willing to take because he's not going to do it.
They used to do it. They would definitely shift the outfield.
A shift would happen,
but not leave third base.
No.
I saw in the World Series they took the third baseman and literally put him behind second base. The shortstop stayed where it was, and the second baseman went into the outfield or some shit like it was a softball game.
Exactly,
wow.
And it actually happened once in the playoffs where someone ended up stealing third because they did it too early, and there was no third baseman there.
Wow.
So the guy just ran to third base and was like, thanks. Anyways, but it's funny because it's the same in music now. Analytics is so important for how you make any decision. So when did you first get on the air?
I got Marcus Allen. I was answering his phones at night.
Marcus Allen?
Mark S. Allen.
Hold on now. His name was Mark S. Allen.
Still is.
Wait, who's Marcus Allen?
Marcus Allen's at the same time a very famous football player. And that wasn't coincidence, right?
I don't think so.
His name is Mark S. Allen. That is so tight. That's awesome. That's like Walt R. Payton. It's me, Mark S. Allen, and my boy Walt R. Payton. So he was doing a mix show?
Nah, he was a night job.
Okay, and you would just come hang out?
And I would answer the phones and take requests and, pull, back then it was carts, and it was carts, and I think CDs had just started.
Probably.
It might have been cart
90,
music.
91?
Some of the music was cart too, though.
Yeah.
And carts are like 8 tracks for the audience.
They were playing carts. We were playing music on carts all the way up till when I started.
So literally you had to, I would go in and they would have the log and you would pull all the shit based on the numbers and organize it so the guy...
He'd stack them. Stack them by number.
Yep.
So they'd say, here's the next hour of music, and you would go...
Sometimes I pull, I've always been a go-getter. You know what I mean? I might have 2 hours ready for you, my G.
Yo, don't commercials too, bruh.
Talk about it.
Whatever
if something
you need.
repeats, I got a little paper I slid in the slot to mark that we got to repeat this joint. You had my time, B.
Yo, bro, I would feel so satisfied when I would get 2 hours ahead on pulling music. I'd be like, Tigger, don't worry, my G. You got 2 hours right here. Relax. Do your thing. I'm going to go try to holler at girls on the phone now because I already did all my work. Now that I did my work.
Hell yeah.
All right, so you would, did he ever let you talk on the air?
Yeah, he would put me on shit. Shout outs. You got to do shout outs.
Oh, so you shout out on the phone?
Yeah. Who shouting out? I would shout out high schools, whatever. Girls.
Did girls start to already? Did you already start to use this?
What?
You were 15, 16 years old.
I was
on the
already
radio.
smashing.
Oh, you were smashing.
I smashed at 13. I got my first smash, and it was on the radio at 15. It was so lit.
You were at it. Hold on. We also, by the way, skipped over.
lit.
We skipped over, by the way, your R&B career.
Oh, my R&B group.
Yeah. What was it called?
Tomorrow's Answer.
Yo, Tomorrow's Answer.
You jumped to radio.
Yo,
I could
I'm
have hit
sorry.
you with the 87, 88 Tomorrow's Answer church group.
I mean, I don't even know how much more we need than Tomorrow's Answer. It was you and some friends?
Well, you met my boy Brian. He was
Yeah.
he works in Brooklyn now. He runs the Sankofa organization out there, and he was at Izzy's birthday.
Yeah.
We had Philip Beverly, who was like our Luther Vandross voice.
Okay.
All right, don't get it fucked up.
And which voice were you, by the way?
I was just a tall, light-skinned dude. That was
Okay.
it.
You barely sang.
I just sang backgrounds and dance, man. I'm a
Okay.
tall, light-skinned dude. Gotta have one.
Got to. You had
Come on,
to.
man. Look
Yeah,
at
you were the look.
look at any 80s R&B, 90s R&B group. Light-skinned dude.
Yep.
So there was.
I had the flat top and out. Don't get it fucked up.
Yeah.
I'll put on the circle glasses. You might think I'm Al B. Shore.
Woo.
Don't get it fucked up. Christopher Williams, Al B. Shore.
And you guys
Time.
almost went on. It almost happened, though, for Tomorrow's Answer.
Yeah,
didn't it?
we did a show at the Roxy in L.A. We did that for some record labels. Did a talent show with Sherry Carter. She hosted the talent show, and in the video you can see me looking at Sherry Carter's fat ass during the shit.
Who's Sherry Carter?
Who's she again?
Remember? Donnie Simpson, Sherry Carter, BET.
Oh, yeah.
No, sorry.
She co-hosted for Donnie.
You guys don't remember Sherry Carter?
Yeah,
I'm
she was
sorry.
big. She was big. Video
Fucking
soul.
popping.
All right. I believe you.
Whew. And then, so yeah, we did our thing.
But it never happened.
No, come on.
Who managed you? Chris
Jamel,
Stokes?
I shout out to Jamel Johnson. His mom was our manager.
Okay. Momager.
Momager. And then Adrian Steele. Adrian did production, played the keys. Still doing production, wrote some songs out here.
So it didn't work out, though. And that story was about Tomorrow's Answer, which is one of the best R&B groups from the 90s I've ever heard.
Tomorrow's Answer started out as a gospel group. Started singing in church first,
And then it became,
and then we was kind of lit, and it was like, well, hold up, girls like this.
let's
get on
sing
out.
about these girls. So you must have been killing it by the time you're 15 and on the radio at night, and people are hearing like, you could give them a shout out. You would shout out a girl too.
Of course,
Phew, that must have been crazy at 15 years old.
of course.
So you were did you kill it in high school? Like, were you doing pretty well?
Yeah, I graduated with 3.5.
I don't mean that. I mean with chicks.
Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah, I
called
did
that.
very well.
No one gives a shit about your grades. Let's get back to these bitches.
Yeah, nah, I did well for myself.
You did well.
Yeah.
Because you were a good-looking kid and you were on the radio. So you were,
And I had a couple dollars in my pocket.
and you had a couple bucks because you had a car.
Yeah.
When'd you get a car?
16.
And he had a strong dad influence. Like, yo, go get what you want. You know, like
Well,
some-
actually, my first car money came from a disability that, like Social Security disability that my dad was supposed to get because of some prison shit that they had fucked him over. So there was money waiting for me when I turned 16 that I didn't know about. And so my mom was like, yo, your dad's been on disability and Social Security was supposed to do XYZ because he wasn't able to provide because they had fucked him over. So we had to go down to the Social Security.
And pick up the check.
Yeah, and I got like 20 grand.
20 grand
At 16?
At 16.
Ooh.
What'd you cop?
I copped a 4-door Honda Accord with Fittipaldi rims, with the
used
all
though,
black
right?
with the tan interior.
Not brand new, used.
Nah, it was new, fam. What you
Brand
talking about?
new?
Yeah.
Well, you had 20,000.
You spent the whole wad on a car?
Nah, what?
Nah, it wasn't 20 grand
For a
back then.
Honda Accord back then? 10, right?
Yeah, it was like 10 or 11.
Shit, brand new car at 16.
That's
Fittipaldi
fuck-
rims, low profile
poppin'.
tires.
But then you also had a way to get to work whenever you want. So you basically used the car then to work.
Yeah. And other things.
I mean,
We
and
was out
fuck
here.
these bitches out here. So, but you ended up on air by what age?
I was on air at 16 when I got my drive. I remember being on the air when I got my driver's license.
So a year later they gave you a mix show.
No, I was still doing shout outs, but a guy named Davey D from Q93 in New Orleans who had got a job and left New Orleans. He came, shout out to anybody who's from New Orleans who listens. Uptown Angela, Wild Wayne. It was a big radio station in New Orleans at the time that would play like bounce music, early Cash Money, all that shit. DJ Rowe, he had left that station and came to Northern California to do nights. They hired him to do nights. And then when he got there, he was like, yo, I don't really know this city. He was like, you want to be my co-host? And so he put me on the air because, you know, I was learning how to DJ, and I met him in the DJ booth, and he could spin, and we was playing records and hip-hop records and shit like that. And hip-hop was
Your
really...
name was Ebro?
Yeah, it was always
That's
Ebro. I grew up at Ebro.
Oh, your family nickname is Ebro.
Ebro, yeah.
And what's the? Sorry to divert a little bit. What's the New Orleans Bay Area connection?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Like, why did Master P go there? Was it?
I think. Well, what I know from the South to the Bay was a lot of families moved from the South because in after World War II, the shipyards were where the jobs were. So in the 50s and 60s.
But you notice there's like a Mississippi Chicago connection.
Yeah.
There's like this New Orleans
Northern
Gulf,
Cali.
Yeah, Northern Cali thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird.
I don't know. There's a lot of families there too.
All right.
So
proceed.
So you weren't officially his co-host though. Like, did they start paying you like a co-host, or he was just like, nah, you can come up here and
Nah,
be
he fought for me to get paid. Like, and money, if you was in 90s radio in 1990, 91.
That was not nothing.
It was you could get some money.
Yeah.
People in the 90s got paid money. I was making, I think at 16 years old, I was probably making like 40 grand a year.
That's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking privileged ass white boy, man. Seen this shit 1,000 times.
Did you steal his job too? Sorry, I shouldn't.
Now hold on. Were you playing? And at night, were you guys were playing? Now let's just remind everyone, because not everyone remembers this. You still weren't playing hip hop all day.
No,
a lot of R&B.
My friends used to make fun of me. It would be. It wasn't even. I mean, this was a pop radio station. We played like, remember that record Barbie Girl?
Yeah,
that was a big fucking record, like Le Bouche or them fucking records. What was those fucking songs?
Be my lover, won't you be my
sign,
lover?
Sign everywhere, the signs. Fucking whatever.
Oh, you were playing that?
You mean
Play
Ace of
all that
Base?
shit.
Ace of Base?
Ace of Base was going.
I saw the
There you go.
sign,
There you go.
and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign.
All that shit. And my friends used to make fun
All
of me.
that she wants
All that
is another baby. Woo, hits. What about I'm blue? If I were green, I would die.
yeah,
If
what's
I-
that one?
Sorry. What about this though? At night, were you playing shit like this though? At nighttime, or was this on weekends only?
This was on my hip hop show.
Which is
It's
weekends.
like that, y'all. No, I had they gave me like Monday nights at midnight was like the first hip hop show.
Bullshit ass slot. Who wants a Sunday or Monday night midnight?
It was called the Flavor Show.
The Flavor Show.
The Flavor Show.
Yo, honestly, I want to say this right now. I think you were probably the only show with that name, man.
You really an original.
Yo, I think that's sarcasm. I'm pretty sure.
No.
Holy shit, that name.
And you would play how much? When
I got
did that
to program my own shit.
And what time? When did that show start? Like what year? You were still in high school?
Yeah, I had to. So I was 17.
And was that fun as shit though? Was that like you were
that was how I
excited?
met, but that was how I met everyone. Like, because at that time in 1992.
Well, now we're up to 92 already.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're more like this. I'm kinda off.
1992. It was Cameo. It just went hip hop. I think in 92, and a little bit before that, late 91. Then you had Hot 97. It was like they were kind of similar around the same time. Cameo's in San Francisco. And so the only way hip hop was getting played, and obviously spins would pop up and labels would see it, was Sway and Tech, who was at Cameo. I remember like being young and hearing them win that contest where they got their own hip hop show at Cameo.
Oh, they won a contest for that?
They won a contest for that.
By the way,
Tech won a DJ.
Sway. We got to do a Sway episode.
Sway,
so.
yeah.
Yes.
You gotta try to get Tech too.
That would be
Sway
great.
and Tech.
Not a big tech guy?
Nah. We gotta fly him in.
Yeah, that's
we want that budget.
He comes in every once in a while. I mean, you really want to do it, we should get Revolution too. I mean, how far you want to go?
But Revolution came later.
He's later, yeah.
The Sway and Tech was the show, and then you had Julio G at the beat.
Yeah.
Julio G.
You had the Baker Boys in California was playing
Boys,
hip hop,
know them.
and then you had me in Sacramento. Those were like the hip hop shows.
That was it.
Yeah.
Was this major talk for you back then?
Oh hey, I remember when I got this CD Pro.
Right.
When you got what?
The CD Pro.
Oh, you got a CD promo of this.
Yeah. And I mean, we got
And vinyl
everything
for this
back then.
too.
We got everything.
So
Right.
And were you taking all this vinyl?
Of course.
And were you spinning on the show?
On mine, yeah.
You were
on mine,
spinning.
I got to play, yeah. And then,
Oh yeah, I heard one recently. Didn't one of those shows pop up on the internet
Yeah.
with you?
Yeah, I was
I
playing.
found one of those.
What?
If anyone has any of these, by the way, who hears this and has any of these old Ebro shows, please post them.
people send them sometimes. Then Ricky Lee Minch. I don't know if
Ricky
anybody
Lee.
knows Ricky Lee. He was the mix
From
show
Hits.
coordinator from Hits magazine
course.
just before he went to Hits.
Yeah. What was he doing? He on the radio?
He did overnights, but he was also the mix show coordinator. First time I met him, I said hello to him. He was like, "You don't fucking speak to me."
What? Yeah, I like this guy.
I was like, oh,
Why did he say that?
because I was a 15-year-old kid and you're not.
Remember when
supposed to
Ebro kicked that intern out of the station?
Same thing.
Same type
No,
of
but
vibe.
that was different. He wanted to fight. I was a nice kid. I was just like, hey, they thought I was arrogant and cocky because I wasn't afraid to speak to people. That was like a stigma that I had when I started when I was like 15 because I wasn't.
But again, I keep going back to this point. That comes from your dad, right?
I would assume. Maybe. I mean, that's
Like
what
your
you're
dad
taught.
taught you, like, look in people's eyes.
Yeah, stand up straight. What the fuck is wrong with you? Pitch your head up.
See,
Look
I didn't
people
have
in
a
the
dad.
fucking
That's
face.
why I
What the fuck you doing?
slouch.
You shake a man's hand, you see another man, you say, hey, if he's looking at you, then you say, hey,
But
how you doing?
But Cipha, I have a dad and I still slouch. My dad slouches.
Right. Your dad's a sloucher, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. My dad walks
your dad
like
a Black
a 15-year-old. No,
A Jace.
not at all.
Nothing.
Cipha,
Nothing.
you didn't have a dad.
I didn't have one, so I'm a super slouch.
Wait, Ricky Lee. Wasn't Ricky Lee also? I may be confusing Ricky Lee with
Nasty
with Nasty
Pamela
Ness.
Anderson.
Yeah, but remember, DC, Ricky Lee, Albie D, PGC. You know who Albie D
Whoa,
is?
of course, do I know Albie D is?
Okay.
I grew up with Albie D.
Ricky
out there.
Lee came up in the PGC thing before he went to Sacramento.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Ricky Lee was under Albie D?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's
yeah.
me, it's Albie D.
Talk about it.
Tigger came up under him too. Tigger was
Was
on
it Tigger
after
D
Albie
at first, and then you changed it?
What'd you say?
Tigger D, Albie D,
It's me,
Ricky D.
Exactly.
Tigger D, Albie D, and
Now,
Ricky
but
Lee.
did you know Nasty Ness too?
I met him, but I didn't. At
You
that
know
time.
Nasty Ness?
No.
Nasty Ness was the hits, was a hits dude, hits college, I guess he
Yeah, there
did.
you
But
go.
he used to roll with, he was the Asian dude who was rocking with Sir Mix-a-Lot in those old
Yeah.
videos.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
Nasty
yeah,
Ness.
yeah.
That was Nasty Ness.
Nasty Ness, yeah.
Back in the day. So, how long do you stay in Sacramento for?
I was in Sac until 1999,
And then you went to?
Portland, Oregon.
They wanted you for nights?
No, remember I started a station in Sac, so I ended up in 1997. A black woman had one. FCC does these things internationally or nationally where they give a minority like radio license. I don't know if they still do it, but it would be like, okay, you would wait on a list, and every so many years they would say, okay, now we're going to put a new radio signal in this town or this town or this town, and it would have to go to a minority, whether it was
Owner.
owner.
So you'd have to have the money.
You'd have to have the money, and you had to be a minority ownership. And so this lady had been on a list, and the guy that was supposed to get it ended up dying, so she was the next person on the list. She
Boom.
and she wanted to do hip hop. And so in 1997,
What's
I
her
left.
name?
Her name is Paula Nelson. I think
Because
she still has a radio station. It's like gospel.
She got that because someone died.
Yeah, so the guy that had been like running like this AM black station in Sacramento for a long time out of like a trailer somewhere was the guy on the list.
Right.
And right when the shit came down, he died.
Do you think she killed him?
There's speculation about that.
Listen, I know Paula. It could have been.
A lot of speculation.
Could have been.
And so what did she hire you to do?
She hired me to be afternoons and at that time assistant program director.
Wait,
And
why
it-
you?
Because I was doing the hip hop show across town, and I also
It's in your town.
Yeah, this is all
Oh,
in
this is not
Sacramento.
Portland.
This is
This
in
is
Portland.
Sac. Okay,
yeah,
I
this
thought.
is Sac.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, this is Sac.
Gotcha.
And so I was kind of, people knew my name from doing that, and we was in 93. My friends and I, shout to Doug and Dre, we started a street team promotions company in college called Conscious Vibes, which we would do.
I've heard of this, Ebro.
Yeah,
Oh,
Conscious
God.
Vibes. Man.
Everything about you is so old school hip hop.
Yeah, man.
Conscious Vibes.
But it was the vibe at the time.
Tomorrow's answer.
But let me
the
ask
flavor.
you something, Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard people, old record reps, say stuff like, "Man, Ebro's not the same as when he used to do Conscious Vibes"?
No, people
You
say
never
that.
heard- yeah, people
I've heard
say that
people
to
say
me.
that he's not the same, but I didn't know like they meant that he was like.
But I think now he's a dickhead PD of Hot 97, where before he used to be on some right.
I was a weed smoking dreadlock
Yeah.
college kid
Oh, yeah, with
doing
dreadlocks,
underground hip hop show
Right.
and fucking throwing. I did like the first Erykah Badu concert in Sac, and we used to bring the Roots and Duck Down and fucking KRS to town and shit.
I tell everybody, I'm like, he probably grew up, son. He probably.
Well, I think that's the
grew up
other
to be-
part too. Is I was really young, and a lot
Right.
of people were older than me. I mean, a lot of record reps that were around
But
at that
the
time,
thing
they're
is,
like
but-
5 years older than me.
But the spirit of that person is still very much a part of who you are. It's not like that person died and you're like, I only care about money now. That's the misconception that's kind of irritating. Is
Yeah,
that-
but if you have an underground hip hop show in the 90s and you were playing underground Black Moon records and like the Roots, he's saying, then you move to New York and you get Hot 97
And
there has to
program
be-
it and have to
there
program.
has to be some adjustments. But you as a record promoter are like, yo, you used to play our real shit. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
A different
it's a
day,
different time.
era, time,
Job.
location.
So what did Conscious Grooves do?
Conscious Vibes.
Vibes.
What did
man.
Conscious Vibes do?
Don't disrespect
We had
that.
a record pool. We had a record pool.
Conscious Vibes record pool.
Conscious Vibes record
So it
pool
was like
and promotions.
So it was like y'all were promoting the conscious.
Nah, I mean, it was just hip hop, man.
But
we were conscious. We would do, we was, activist shit. We do all type of shit.
But you were consciously accepting a check to promote these records too.
Of course.
And wasn't that also a conflict of interest? You
Where?
were on
At
the
which
radio because you're on the radio and you're getting paid to promote records.
Well, we're not getting paid to promote records. We were promoting, like I had events we were doing. I didn't get paid to promote songs.
Okay, you didn't work
I got
records.
money from DJs to get them vinyl to be a subscriber to our record pool.
Got it.
So that was my get, was I got the vinyl for free, but if you want to be in the Conscious Vibes record pool, then you got to pay your monthly dues.
How much was monthly dues?
I think it was like $50.
$50.
And you hook them, and you probably still give them a lot for that.
You get fucking everything we get from
much?
every label.
All right,
Every
a lot of
label
shit
would-
for $50.
The labels would send you how much of each vinyl, like
I get boxes. What are you talking about?
like 50 copies, maybe more.
Nah,
Like
whatever.
200.
I need 4 boxes.
So they send you for like 100 records, 200
Yeah.
records.
So that was the equivalent of getting MP3s back then.
Oh yeah.
You
But-
want
You
to
can't-
promote your
you can't
record,
compare it though.
huh?
This is one
Well,
place where the
everyone can
comparison
get
doesn't make
MP3s.
sense.
Why?
No, but I'm saying before MP3s took over the world and became the only way to get music, I'm saying initially a record company wants to promote a song, get it to the specific DJs in the streets, in the clubs, and on the radio. So they would have to send boxes of vinyl.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
how expensive was that?
Well, that's a lot.
Well, not only
Because
that, but
you're
you
a
had to
record
pay.
pool in one town. There's
That's
a,
one. No offense, shit town in the
yeah,
middle of
one
nowhere.
shit
Yeah.
town.
They had to. DC had and more than one
Yeah.
record pool in DC. More than one record pool. In
I
New
mean,
York.
Sacramento's market 25.
Right, not a shit town, but yeah.
No, I mean, but I'm just saying.
But yes,
think
that's
about the top
25.
10 market.
right?
Yeah.
Where you have 10 record pools in those markets.
Like I had the only record pool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and
Damn,
then
So would
that's
you- would you-
and all that came out of that artist's budget.
Okay, but DJs from the radio stations, would they go to you too, or were most of them getting their vinyl?
no,
sent
they
to
got
them?
their own. I mean,
were
they're at
getting
the
their
radio
shit.
station.
So they
yeah,
were fine.
Yeah. But it was the club guys and people who didn't have access because I was inside. So now
And
I
by
had
the way,
access.
people should know if you're listening and learning right now, that went on. The record pool being a big thing went on until the early 2000s, where
Yeah.
club DJs were going to the record pool meetings
Yeah.
and getting their shit. So because it was still a better deal than going to the store, and you didn't wait
No, but you
until
still had to go to the
store's
store.
record. You still had
Even
to,
if you got promo vinyl, it was still you had to
you had
stuff
to fill in
had
some
buy.
gaps.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like by and large, the records you needed to play at the
Oh,
clubs.
can I
you get.
apologize? I would like to apologize to DJs who were part of the franchise record pool.
Because you were
Why,
stealing
what
their shit.
happened?
I mean, I wasn't part of the pool, but if I saw something I wanted in someone's box, I would take it.
What do you mean? Because you were working with Flex?
Yeah.
Because you were at franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, and there would be a box. People could come up to the franchise record pool office and get their stuff.
Yeah,
They
there
had
was,
to come pick
there
them
was
up.
slots.
Well,
There
that
was-
was the thing about the record pool. Like I had to rent space. Like you got to pay your dues, B. I have to rent space because I had to store your
Store all
shit.
the- yeah, you can't
Then I
store
had to
it.
have people available so you can come pick your shit up.
Oh, you had to hire. Damn, there's a
so
lot
you
to
wasn't
do.
you wasn't making out like a bandit.
Fuck no.
But you
Yeah,
got-
I mean, you made a couple of dollars. I
Yeah.
could buy.
That's
ounce
what
of
made
weed.
it. That's what made it conscious.
Right.
They were still looking out.
Right.
No, we were consciously smoking this weed.
Exactly. Very conscious thoughts when they were smoking their weed. Did you guys work the Conscious Daughters record?
Yes. Conscious Daughters was lit. Don't you
We rolled
disrespect.
deep. Were they from out there?
They're from Oakland.
Oh, my bad. I forgot they were from Oakland.
Yeah.
Everyone was so conscious out there, bro.
Conscious Daughters.
Y'all were all conscious. So,
The Cool. Shout to Boots.
Oh,
And
that's-
Pam.
I forgot.
That's
You know them
Oakland.
too.
Oh, that's Oakland. Hieroglyphics, all that.
what about the dude from Diggable Planets?
Ishmael's not from. He
He's
just
from
happened to
Brooklyn.
be in Sacramento,
Oh,
living
okay.
for a while. I met him. That was a while ago.
So you you turn on the other station in Sacramento, then you go to Portland to
Do mornings.
do mornings.
Yeah.
Did you know how to do mornings at that point?
Yeah, I did mornings in.
The second station in Sacramento too?
No, I did mornings at the first station. I did nights with Davey for a while. Then a lot of people don't know, but you can look back. The Communications Act of 1995, consolidation started in 1995. So you had a lot of mom and pop stations that went from being like, you could. The rule was at that time you could own one FM station in a market. You could have an AM or maybe a couple of AMs. You could not have a newspaper and a television station. I think you could have one or the other. This is FCC regulations.
Oh, wow.
In 1995, because cell phones was becoming a big thing, Clinton had passed the Communications Act, which everyone thought was more about cell phone communications and having towers, cell phone towers. I think the way I understand, I could be fucking it up, in multiple cities on a national level. What ended up happening in that is radio stations went from being able to own one FM to owning 5 FMs in one market, and you could own television stations, and you could own newspapers, which results in what we have today, where you have basically 6 communications companies that own all the media in the country. Right now, behind all of that was, in my opinion, was Lowry Mays, and you can look up the Mays family. Lowry Mays, who was the neighbor of George Bush and the Bush family, and as Clinton was coming out of office and the Bushes were kind of coming in, and older Bush had kind of already been in there a little bit. This fast forwarded these companies going public, and so a lot of these radio companies. Remember, in the late '90s, radio went public on the stock market, and radio overhead is very low. It only costs us like $90 a month to broadcast to potentially 15 million people.
$90?
Yeah, that's the electric bill to send a signal from this building to a tower on fucking
Empire State Building
that then goes out. Now, obviously, you have tons of other costs: talent, staff, equipment, engineers, leasing space, towers, processors. You have other costs, but it's not as much as like bandwidth costs. Or technology costs, or these other costs of some of these other companies trying to create streaming and other things. But we're delivering a free product to people's cars.
Yeah.
With that low overhead, it was great for the stock market. Loved it. And a lot of people got paid in the mid to late 90s.
Wait, who's the Mays guy?
Lowry Mays was the owner of Clear Channel.
Ah. Oh. Whoa.
So if you look up Clear Channel in that path,
yeah,
you'll find out some interesting things.
Ooh, interesting.
Which obviously Clear Channel is now iHeart, which also plays into my opinion of iHeart and why people hear me talk so much shit about iHeart, because I believe that Clear Channel successfully ruined not only media but specifically hip hop, because Clear Channel would have a black targeted station, a soccer mom targeted station.
Right. You don't like that?
No, I'm fine with that. A Spanish targeted station, a classic rock station, and maybe like a at work light FM station.
Right.
And then they would sell the top 40 station advertising and the soccer mom station and the other stations for a very expensive price tag, and then throw in the hip hop.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
As a discount.
Right.
That's
so then you're now getting one of the, like, in my opinion, hip hop is for the last, easily since 1990, most formidable, trend-setting music cultures we've ever seen in the United States as far as fashion, alcohol, shoes, car. We talk about so much shit in our music that sets trends of what people are going to end up buying, and then the radio stations playing that music are giving their advertising away at a discount price, so you're devaluing this culture that's being created by black and brown people.
It's a toss in to go with your pop station, which is where you get the real money.
Even though it's stronger influence.
Way stronger. Actually, the pop station you have is copying everything, including the music, from your hip hop station.
So that's where, and so I saw that happen in the 90s of now all these stations getting bought up, that was the first time mass people losing jobs, friends I know losing their whole livelihoods, fucking pensions, whatever. So I think it kind of carries into some of my attitude now, even when I moved to New York, like Power 105 came on in 2002. I got hired at Hot 97 because Hot 97 had never had a competitor before. So when Tracy was here, one of the requirements to get the job to be the APD MD was that you needed programming experience in a competitive market. And you needed hip-hop programming. So the reason nobody else could get the job was because all the people coming up as music directors had never been programmers before.
Right.
And I had been a programmer, and I had done mornings. So that's why I had
competition.
And I had been because when I started the station in 1997, it was the first hip hop station in Sacramento. I beat the station I grew up at. We went toe to toe with them. And I beat them in the ratings designing my own hip hop radio station. And that was kind of what put me on the radar. And then that's how I met a lot of people and ended up in New York City.
By the way, guess what? That's the perfect point to stop, because I think Ebro's a safe one that we can do a part 2 with. Wouldn't you agree?
No.
You don't think?
Will I be allowed back in the building?
I hope so. Well, what are you going to say today when you leave? Where are you going to?
I'm going to do everything. Yo, can I say something real quick? When I went in the back to say hello to the bosses, the head of human resources gave me a look.
Who, Pat? Like, oh shit.
Come on, you know Pat used to show me mad love, yo.
Hello?
She definitely gave me like the, what the fuck?
What'd you say? Did you say something?
I said, don't be nervous. I was invited.
What'd she say? Hi. Then she changed
Yo,
all
A
you
the
should've-
but it wasn't the much love as I used to get. And I said, yo, at least you didn't have to walk me out, yo.
And you
That was
should've-
something I always feared.
You should have run.
Huh?
Like you should have run up to her desk. Like, hey. Ebro, I just saw something before we let you go. I saw something on Instagram. This sounds like a story you would have started back in your heyday, man. G-Pen just posted this. I guess it's about a thing in Colorado. The name of the store. Tell me Ebro wouldn't have started this store in 1998. Native Roots.
Yeah. Talking about it.
Oh, it's in Colorado right now. Hey, all right. Well, that's a perfect stopping point.
I also stayed much longer than I anticipated, like you guys said, predicted.
Yep, that was so easy to predict, by the way. All right, so
Just like when you were a guest on the morning show.
That was going to stay longer than anticipated.
exactly. All right, so that was awesome. We'll bring you back for part 2, and we'll do the whole New York story. 88, you're a fan. That's a good point to stop, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Nah, we touched on like Ebro's history and
Well,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Now we can
like,
do
what about those
literally.
pictures in his office with
Well, that's-
Aaliyah and Common and you know what I mean? He got some shit.
That's
and,
what I'm
and what about the women he fucked? Huh? What celebrities he got?
Oh,
down
which
with?
women he fucked? Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to find that out. But I think we did a good job
gonna find that out.
getting us
I
up
think we'll
to.
know.
I think we did a good job getting us up to where now we can go to like the bigger years. This is all the pre-years. Now we'll get to like when he was the man.
Yeah, like which member of SWV got the dick?
Coco. I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just
Don't play
kidding.
around.
I'm just kidding.
She will fuck us all up.
All right, hey, make sure you go watch Ciph's show on Tidal.
Yes, No Small Talk comedy series out right now. Tidal.com.
Well done.
I forgot, why did we do this at the end? We're supposed to do it in the beginning.
I'll add it later. Rosenberg Radio and Cipha Sounds and
Sorry, are those Pop-Tarts with your faces on them?
don't hate Ciph. Don't. It happened.
Is that real?
There's real Pop-Tarts in there.
Sent to us.
They didn't really go on shelves.
Man, I would like. What's Laura's style?
Chocolatey strawberry.
Man, can I grab 2 of those Pop-Tarts and stick my face in between them?
They're disgusting.